Hello, good afternoon. My name is Juan Bautista Papato. We're talking today to my friend Valerio down there in New Zealand. I work currently for Football West. Before I was in New Zealand for over 10 years. Germany in the middle, Belgium, a little coaching there, Cuba, Argentina. But today we have the privilege of talking with Valerio. Look like a beautiful day in Aotearoa, New Zealand. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, very well, mate. Very well. How about you?
Yeah, no, well, it's a little gray today, but can't complain. It's not like Wellington, the wind, the rain, and the Phoenix, although now the Phoenix are not there yet, but good
Yeah,
times.
I remember those days. I remember those days.
So tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah. My name is Valerio Racuglia. I'm Italian, born and raised in Italy. I left Italy when I was 19 after my army service. I had to do it, and I went to play in England for a couple of years. I'm 45 years old, and I live in New Zealand now. I've been living here since 2011, with a couple of years, 2 years in Samoa. We just moved back January 2019 here, back in New Zealand.
How was that military service in Italy? Was 1 year?
Yes, yeah, it was a compulsory year. I was lucky because I was a football player, so it was a little bit easier in one way, but you still had to do a year. But I was free to go and play weekends, and I could train in where we lived, so that was easy.
Any learnings that you would like to share from those times?
It was interesting. It was interesting time. I think I was one of the last one. We were one of the last year to actually do the compulsory army training. Now it's voluntary. Now it's a job. We used to get paid. I think if you change it, maybe $1.50 a day.
Oh, okay.
It was a good experience. Good experience.
And then tell me a little about your coaching experience. How do you start coaching, and how was the transition from playing to step into the coaching role?
Yeah. So, well, my career pretty much stopped at 28. Someone else made a decision for me. It was in 2003. I never forget that day. And I was invited to play with some friends in a park. And literally 10 seconds from kickoff, the guy just flew through my legs and completely destroyed my right knee. So I had 4 reconstructions of cruciate ligaments and 7 other different operations to sort it out. So by the time I was ready to go, it was too late. So that was the end of it. And I was lucky enough that I had a friend. We are still good friends. And one day while I was injured, he invited me to go with him to Copenhagen to watch a football game. And as you do, we talk football on the way. We watched the game. I told him what I saw, and we discussed it on the way back. And it was 3 hours driving each way. And the week later, he asked me again if I fancy go with him, and of course I did. And so it became kind of my transition to football was to go and watch football with this guy. He was the head scout of a first division team in Denmark called NEF. And so I went with him, and what happened after? He got promoted to assistant coach to the first division team. So he told the club that I was supposed to take his place as a chef scout for the club. So I did that for a year. And then the head coach moved to a better club, or a top flight club. And he got the job as a top head coach. And he asked me to be his assistant coach. It happened all pretty quick. And so the club sent me to licenses. So I took my B license in Denmark. And I coached the under-17 at KIF. We won the National League for the under-21 in Denmark again. And then I moved to New Zealand in 2011. and started coaching at the FTC in Wellington with Andy Hedge.
Yes, Andy Hedge. Hello to Andy.
Yeah, well, I talk to him every week still. So it's he's a good mentor. He's a good coach to talk football with. And after that, I went to Miramar Rangers. We won 2 leagues in 3 years. Started working with Tim Wellington as assistant coach, and Ernie Merrick at the time was at the Phoenix. I think he came to see us while I was in Miramar, and he liked what he saw. And after the season, after my 3rd season, asked me to go and have a chat with him and kind of a job interview and start working at the Phoenix and the academy as a coach again with Ejo. After so many years, I ended up working with him again. And then one trip to Fiji, Ernie saw what I was doing with the video analysis, and he asked me to start doing a bit of work with the first team, and so start working on video analysis as well to that point. And then Samoa came and knocked on the door, and I thought it was a great opportunity to try to be a technical director of a nation. Challenging, very challenging, but it was a really good 2 years. And now I'm back here in New Zealand. I've done a bit of a work with Days at the under 20 and under 23 for the World Cup in Poland, and 23 is in Samoa. And now I'm the technical director of football. At football here, Bay Olympic Football Club
in Auckland.
In Auckland, yeah.
So yeah, it's really fascinating story, isn't it? How that transition, different people have a transition in a different way. A friend I was talking yesterday, James, he was telling me he was playing, and then the friend invited him to play, and then the coach left, and then he started being the assistant coach and then the head coach.
Yes.
And you kind of like that transition, then watch football. And also the Denmark, my city love in Denmark, or this winter in Europe, I was in Germany, and we went to Aarhus, and you were close. We all met, but it was kind of in the last minute. I didn't know. I said, "Oh, Valerius might be here," and then you say, "No, I'm busy. I was having the plan to stop on the way back out of the motorway and meet you somewhere."
We had to clean the house that we left behind. So, and we went to Italy as well. So we had a lot to do. We finished the day before we flew, pretty much. It was it's pretty crazy. So, yeah, never again.
We went to Italy as well, but I think you were in Denmark at that time. So we almost were on the same path. It could be. So how, if you have to compare Italian football with Danish football, with Samoa, with New Zealand football. So if we go to Italian football, how do you see the football in Italy?
Yeah, well, obviously at the moment, like everywhere else, there's no game happening. I was lucky that I grew up while the Serie A was one of the top leagues in the world. We used to bring the best players. We could afford the best players at that time. What I recognize today, there is the lack of planning of what could have happened and what actually did happen once the money ran out. We are what I'm reading is it's a big rebuild stage at the moment. There's a lot of teams like Atalanta, which is a very young team. Verona, it's a very young team. Lazio, a young team. They don't tend to spend a lot of money. They're trying to bring the kids up, like we used to do. Torino used to do. Parma used to do. Sampdoria, they used to be known for the youth system. And I think there's some really nice or good, decent players coming through at this stage, and hopefully we get to see that. I mean, I don't know how much you saw the under-20 World Cup, but Italy got to they got to the semi-final playing a decent football.
Yeah, they were decent. They were decent.
The 17s did the same. So there is a good future in Italy in football if or when they're gonna kick off again.
Yeah, sometimes it's funny because well, I'm a football um, freak like you, so I did watch the games and the 20s and the 17 and everything to do football. But I'm surprised sometimes how then you watch the national team and then Buffon is back and this guy is back and the other one is like he retired 5 times from the national team. You know why you don't bring the young keeper? You know, Simperono, that guy he's in Atlanta, or you know, you give him a chance to the young players, but maybe they are scared or they will ruin the changing room for them. I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know. I mean, Mancini's not scared to put young kids on the pitch, so I think it's a shame because he reckons, looking at the interviews, that we had a chance to win the Euro this year with the team we had. So who knows what's happened next year? What, you know, sounds like they're gonna kick off again in June. So let's wait and see.
Yeah. And what about then that transition to Denmark?
Well, that was easy. There was always the idea of going to see Denmark. I played 2 years in England and then kind of went to try Denmark. And as I said, I got injured pretty much 6 months into the season, if so. So it wasn't. That was the end of it. But I was living there. I had friends, and I decided to stay. I liked the country, so instead of playing, I just started watching a lot of football. You know, Denmark is small. You can drive from Kolding to Copenhagen, which is 200 kilometers, in 3 hours, if so. And then you can go and watch a game and then catch a train or drive back again. And so it's not that hard. And there are some really good teams, FC Copenhagen, Midtjylland, Brøndby. You know, there are some decent club up there. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the national team did well at the World Cup. I mean, they were unlucky. They lost some penalties against Croatia. And they've been, Denmark is pretty much always at the World Cup. Round of 16, maybe quarterfinal with the Laudrup brothers in the 90s. But they're a small nation, isn't it? They're always there. Maybe they're lacking one or two key players, maybe a few more. But they're always decent team, hard to beat.
Well, if you think it is the same population as New Zealand, and they produce some world-class players, you know, the two Laudrup, Elkjær, Schmeichel, you know, there's been few, to name few, but it means that they are doing something right in the youth system to bring them up. Again, Germany is not far away from Denmark, and lots of players go down as well there and play the first division, second division, whatever they call. And then they come back and, you know, they improve the league as well with the experience. So, yeah, you know, it's enjoyable. The pitches the stadiums are football stadiums, nice and small and square. Good atmosphere, good crowd. So, you know, enjoyable.
Yeah, I remember I went to watch Aarhus, so it's a little town, and I was surprised. The stadium was nice, and the pitches and the atmosphere. I mean, it was small, but I was like, wow, you know, it's really good standard. I saw the session as well. So how was the coaching in Denmark? How do you find the coaching? Was more freedom? What more structure? What like the Germans, or was a mix between both of them?
Yeah, no, it was. We were at a stage where things were changing with the new technical director as well, and the coach I worked with, it was very open to changes. It was we were going from a really disciplined system to two blocks, to a bit more freedom for player to express themselves, and we were moving already from to this to what do you think? You know, can you help us? Can you, if you receive this way, you could. And as I say, we got some decent results, you know, with the team we had, with the money we had. We have developed a few players who play abroad. One play in the first division in the Bundesliga. We had a couple of play MLS in USA. So we did. We think we did well, and it was enjoyable. It was again a very professional environment, but still very, very relaxed. A good family club, and yeah, it was a great, tough new experience in a way that you go from playing to coaching is it's not, sometimes the transition is not as easy as you think it is because you've been playing. But again, I think I've been pretty lucky in my career that I worked with really good coaches where I could really learn from all of them, pick bits and pieces and tweak it and adjust it to our needs, to my needs and to my team needs. And so, pretty lucky, pretty happy.
And I guess to yourself, isn't it? I guess as a coach, sometimes I talk to people, oh, we go over there doing this, and with Barcelona doing this, and whatever. And it's like, what is your style? Which way you want to play? And then sometimes I think it's hard for coaches to kind of understand that. And if they always try to be someone else, but maybe when they're under pressure, they don't know because they don't know all the inside. They can watch one session of club and this. But you need to be true to yourself, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to be true to yourself, and you have to be able to adjust as well, bits and pieces. Not change it, but you got to adjust as well as you go. For me, it's the keep learning process, or the coaching is what keeps me going. As I say, you can always learn from other coaches. You can always learn from workshops, from coaching educations. You can always pick something to improve you, to help you in your career. Once you think you know everything and you stop learning, I think that's the end of the journey. I was looking at my old vision and philosophy from 2011 that I had to do from my A license in Australia, and it's funny to see how I went from there to where I am today. I still have all the passages from that time to today, and it's good to see that you keep moving forwards and doing the things that you think is right for you and your team again. So yeah, it's been a fantastic journey so far, and we'll see where it takes us next.
And then how was the new challenge moving into New Zealand from Denmark?
There was always well, we decided early during the 2010 year that we were gonna try something new, just for a year or so. It happened that Christmas of 2010, our club in Denmark pretty much shut down. They sold the license to the first division to another club, and we were told that we could work for free until June, or if we were under contract, we were still going to get paid, but there was no other expenses or anything, so they just kept to the minimum. And by the time it gave us time to look around, and obviously I had a good friend here in New Zealand, not football related, so we kind of talked to him, and I can't remember how I got hold of Ejo's number, and I wrote to him and asked if there was any coaching possibility here. And if Rob Beck said, we're always looking for coaches here in New Zealand. So they made the decision. I came down, and as I say, within 6 months I was here. I went to Australia to take part one of the A license, and then I finished it a few years later, obviously. And the only thing is the plan of 1.5 year didn't work well for us because we're still here. So, but it's good.
But you went to Samoa then in the middle, isn't it?
Yeah.
How was the Samoa experience? What was I guess there were a few maybe politics issues or things that you want to do, but you saw the progress and the community engagement.
Yes. Yeah, well, I guess is it's everywhere. Politics are pretty much everywhere, more or less. Samoa was, as I say, it was interesting working place. They love the football, they love the rugby, they love the sports actually, and they're beautiful people. Um, we we made lots and lots of local friends. We're still in contact with them. We wish go back one day just for a short holiday. As I said to you earlier, I went back for the South Pacific Games with New Zealand under 23, so I got to catch up with a lot of friends there. With the fact they have money from FIFA, that helps developing. Gives you possibility for programs and developing players there. The lack of games is a big problem because, as you know, we do the pre-qualifiers on the men's side, and if you don't go through the pre-qualifier, you play 3 games every 4 years, and that's not ideal. That's not great. So, but other than that, it was a big jump from here. It was a big, because we never traveled to the island, so we didn't know what to expect. But we did fall in love with that place. So we're still looking at the pictures with a bit of mist in the eyes once in a while.
Yeah, well, if you think even a Fiji, been doing really well recently is under 20s. But was Juan Carlos, an Argentinian coach, when they are like 15 years ago or more, and they've been through the years developing and just getting better and better. So you need 15, 20 years of consistency, development, more games, better coaches, better structure. You need everything. And even if you just play games, but underneath you got nothing, well, that team might be okay, but in 2 or 3 years.
Yes, yeah, it's a challenge. It's a big challenge. I left before, obviously I left a year before the Pacific Games, and the challenge of trying to sort things out. We got invited to a training camp to China for 3 months, paid by the Chinese government, I think. And I wasn't there obviously because I left, but seemed like they did a really hard job, and yet they couldn't manage. They won 1 game out of 5. It's a long way to go. There's a long way to go, but there are big possibilities in the islands here in Oceania for sure.
Yeah, and like any kids, especially in Australia, New Zealand, when it's not football nation, any experience like that is so important, a value for our players. Last year we went to the Singa Cup, and our players were like, they are Chinese or they are from Philippines or whatever. I said, sure, español, no tenés miedo. You are scared. Why? I'm not Australian. Why are you scared of them? And it's just that different face, and then bigger and whatever. And so it took us 2 games to kind of warm up, start playing. But it was great, and you could see how all the groups and the 17 they made into the semi-final. They were competing, they were doing well. But it's just about that experience and take them out of the little bubbles that sometimes you got from. Well, New Zealand is not so big, but it's remote. Australia is a big country, but also it's remote. So it's sometimes hard to see, something else outside of that bubble.
Yeah.
So what are those 3 things, if we want to say 3 things that you learned as a coach over the last, I believe, 20 years or more that you've been coaching football?
Yeah, well, the first one with me is the keep learning process. As I say, sometimes because you've been playing some football, you think you know a lot, and you probably do, but you got to start seeing a different point of view from the coach's point of view, and learning. For me, every course that I've been, like every coach I worked with, I always pick something positive out of it. The second would be don't let the frustration and the circumstances take over. Don't let them dictate the outcome of of your process, because it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get out, and I know for experience how easy it is to just you're full of excitement, and then the people in front of you, they stop you, and it takes the toll. But try not to let that discourage you, and just keep going, because as people say, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
it's true.
I believe if you can control the circumstances, then the process will take care of itself. And then the last one, again, just have your players at heart. They come first. They are part of you. And I've got a good relationship with my players. I'm still talking to players that I've been coaching 15, 20 years ago. They calling me still, and we chat even though they're in Denmark and I'm here, and we start talking. That means we left a good impression, and it's a good relationship. Obviously, you gotta do your job, and sometimes you gotta make some tough decisions. But if you're honest with your players, they understand, and they give you the respect. They So that's the three things that I think are important. That's what I think.
And I appreciate it for sharing. I mean, if you, I don't know him personally, but Marcelo Bielsa, some people don't really like him, but because he made tough decisions, but they say it's still the best coach ever because he told me, I was not on the plans or whatever. I was not happy at that moment, but I grew as a player, or other players, and coaches like Mourinho, Pochettino, when they start coaching, they went to see him, what he was doing. So about that process, that mentality, the honesty, and everyone say, Bielsa is a great person.
100%.
It's the top one that everyone say he's a top lad, and and everyone is talking highly about him all the time. So
yeah, sometimes, as I say earlier, sometimes you gotta make some unpopular decisions, and you gotta explain to coach players. You have to tell them why you done it, and there's no point to go around bushes. You gotta tell them, because they always comes back and bite you if you're not honest. Because you give an excuse, and then a week later there's another excuse. That's why he's not playing, and then another, and it becomes you lose the trust in them, and can create a lot of problems. Instead, you tell them what as it is, and you take it as a player. You take it. You've gone through that. I've gone through that as well, and it's up to you how you take it. You either show the coach that is wrong, or you just go and put your head down and just complain. But so it's part of the game. Part of the game.
Yeah. And who is your biggest mentor and why?
I think Adrian during the year has been fantastic. Especially, since we start working together again in 2014 at the Phoenix. As I said, those 3 years that we worked together was a fantastic experience, sharing the same office and listening to him, talking to players. His man management, his game management is something really, really good. And even after that, now he's running his own firma for coaches. And I still calling him and asking for advices, and he's always there. There's never a day where he goes, I got no time for this or that. He's always ready to spend an hour with me and chat and give me advices. So I'm really, really grateful for that. So yeah.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know, it's Andy Hedge. He's living in Paraparaumu in Wellington. He was Capital Coast. Yeah. He was my manager in Capital Football, and then I move around a few places, and he still always one of my top reference. And I say, hey, Andy, amigo, can you be my reference? Yeah, no problem, Juan, my new email list or whatever. And I was talking to my wife yesterday. I say, oh, how was your reference for Football Boys? And I say, well, this guy, and Andy Hedge, of course. So that tell you what kind of person he is. And of course, great coach, and like you say, management as well. And I still remember as well as one of the best managers I have in my football coaching career. So we say hi to Andy.
I will when I talk to him next time.
And What about something, a mistake that you made that then with the time you turn into something good?
Say it again. I missed the first part.
So a mistake that you made in the past, and then you change it around.
Disappearing. Sorry, mate.
Can you hear? A mistake that you make in the past,
yeah,
and you change it around into a positive.
Yeah, I think again, it was my first year here in New Zealand, and I was new to the club, and I wasn't true to myself at the beginning, and I actually had to drop a player, and I didn't really tell him why I dropped him. I don't know why I did that, and that turned to be pretty, not nasty, but obviously it wasn't fun. I had to go and apologize afterwards, after a while, because I felt pretty. I let down myself and I let him down because he came to ask me a question and I should have been honest. And that's when, I started really to say there's no point to go around things. You got to tell them. At the end of the day, I always turning around. If I was the player and I was going to ask the coach, do I want him to lie to me or do I want him to tell me the truth as hard as he can be? So I'd rather hear it from my coach than hearing from my teammates afterwards, So it's and then from there on, it was a quick learning process for me, that one. They never ever tell them lies to players. Just be honest. Just tell them the reason. And I realized afterwards that, as I say, you the players respect you when you're honest. So it's there's no point to go around things.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing. So 2 more questions. One is about you were at the FIFA Awards in 2018. You met Roberto Mancini. He's I really like him, and he's coming Manchester City when City won the league after so many years. The way he managed the players, difficult players, still won the league, and then went to other clubs, did really well as well. I don't know him personally, but I think he's a great coach, and you met other coaches as well. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was great. It was three days with FIFA in London, and listening to Deschamps talking about this Saturday afternoon. Deschamps talked all afternoon about his World Cup, obviously. And it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic to listen to him, the things that he's done, and he was open to share lots of small or hidden things that they done with France. And the interesting part was that nobody was above anybody else. We were in the same room and everyone talked like we were friends. And someone asked a question to Deschamps why, I won't say names, but why this nation didn't perform at the World Cup. And Deschamps is just about to answer. And the coach of the nation stood up and said, I think I can answer that question. I was the coach. So, and again, he spoke and then more questions. It was unbelievable. It was such a fantastic afternoon to be a football coach in that room with all those coaches. And it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
What was one of the secrets or what Deschamps was saying about that French team?
Not secret. Yeah, I know I say secret. But
kind of like people maybe don't know behind the scenes.
You got to make some tough calls. You got to leave some players out of your squad for a World Cup. You got a decision to make. Do you bring the good player? Do you bring the good person? There are a lot of things to consider. It's not just the pitch side. It's not just the football side of it. It's everything around it. can he live together with the others for 8 weeks? Is he a troublemaker? Is, you know, if he brings the family, how's that gonna, and all the things. So, and I remember when I won the last time Italy, I can't remember. So they left out Balotelli, which at that time was unbelievable. And I guess they went through the same process. Oh, you know, yes, of course, it's good for 90 minutes on the pitch, but what about the rest? What about the other hours that we have to live together? How's that gonna, you know? And Deschamps had to make some really tough calls on their area as well. It left some really.
Karim Benzema.
Yes. But he left a few more, obviously, that we don't know. You know, for some of them, perhaps it was the last chance to be in a World Cup, and it must be even harder now that France won it. You know, yeah, you were so close, and yet you make it.
But he won it, so what are they going to say?
He's right.
So last question, how do you see the future, and what advice will you give to coaches and players during this time?
Yeah, the future. At the moment, we're taking a week at a time. I think if we hoping for the early kickoff, but we are planning here at the club early July. I think that's what we're planning for. If it happens earlier, we're obviously ready, but we're expecting July, beginning of July. So we see what comes. Again, it's out of our hands. We just have to be ready and prepare for when the time comes to be ready to go. And I'm in constant contact with the coaches and with the chairmans, so we have a good plan. From as soon as we get the world goal, we are good to go. Other than that, I'm not sure we can look at you know, again, all the major tournaments are being postponed for this year. So hopefully next year we start to see some internationals again. I think the football needs international games as you know, for the fans and for everyone involved in the game.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, we love football, but unfortunately, first time ever, everything else, and then football. So safe people, mama, papa doing well, and family, and then football will come back for you more happiness.
100%.
So Valerio, thank you very much for your time. Gracias mille. And yeah, hopefully catch up soon down there or down here. Thank you, my friend.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thank you.